If someone would have told me 4 months ago that, Jonas, you're gonna own a French car, I would have laughed at them. Only Japanese and Germans make good cars, everybody knows that. But after owning this Renault Megane for a short while, I can tell you that it's not all that bad. At least some of the other nations are giving a go at making cars. The car I'm driving at the moment is a Renault Megane 225 from 2004. The best way I could describe a Renault 225 is think about the Subarus. There's the WRX and the STI. So the 225 is the WRX of the Megane range. Meaning that this is the entry-level fun version and there are other versions available. This being the entry-level version compared to the other versions, this has a lot of goodies taken away from it. For example, the most simplest thing, you can't turn off the traction control, or if you turn it off and it senses slip on the wheels, it will just turn itself automatically back on again. Not mentioning the stiffened chassis or the limited slip differential for this front-wheel drive car. The brakes aren't anything special on this car, but the 4-pot premiers in the front and the single piston calipers at the back will do their job adequately for a Sunday drive. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to take anything away from this car. It's a pretty fun car to drive, especially if you're driving something dreary as your daily. But as the Subaru comparison in my mind would be fitting here, it lacks some of the goodies what would really set it off. I have a friend, let's call him Hydraulic Petteri, and he says that beginner drivers like me do not need the limited slip diff. Here's where I would argue back, even a novice driver like me can feel the loss of grip due to the open diff up front, and that's not a pleasant feeling when you start losing front end grip on a front wheel drive car. I understand that there's a point where you need to get the grips with the car, but I don't see limited slip diff being such a big jump from the drivability perspective that you would need to be neutered in such a way of not having one. Also, given that the traction control can't be turned off, even somebody like me who's not a masterful driver can feel this car being hindered in the corners. The feeling of the front end becoming light and ever so slightly starting to drift away in corners is not something you would want to experience on a constant basis on your Sunday drive out. In addition to the aforementioned, the episodic vagueness of the electric steering leaves a lot of points wish to be desired for. That being said, there's a lot of positives about this car. The 2-liter twin-scroll turbocharged engine delivers more than enough power to the front wheels, and the power curve is really linear to the mid-range. Okay, the top and the low range are suffering a bit, but what can you expect from something that costs 1,300 pounds? And that's the second best aspect about it, the price. £1,300 is what you would pay for a basket full of dirty socks. So for that money, there's a whole lot of car in it. With this car being French, the comfortability aspect is there. Although it's a sports car, it has a pretty nice and comfy seat with just the right amount of side bolstering. Because you won't be going crazy fast anyway, but you don't want to spend long periods in a bucket seat. Also, with having a cruise control makes it possible to go on longer trips. So all the aforementioned points together make this car into a little bit of a weird concoction of a little bit of something and a whole lot of nothing. Not exactly a race car, and then again, it's not exactly a comfortable daily driver. But I'm pretty sure that's the angle they were trying to go for, and they've done it pretty well. You can get a whole lot of enjoyment driving this car in a spirited manner. Yet it's still tame enough to do your milk run. For the money it costs, I see no way of going wrong with this one, especially if you value the little bit of sportiness in your cars. So one of those infamous hill takeoffs with this car. It doesn't like these. As you can see, I stalled it to go. So yeah, doesn't like hill takeoffs. So how is it to drive as a daily driver? I mean, for a sports car it's not that uncomfortable. This specific car of course has lowering springs on it, IMPARSHL ones, so it makes it a little harsher. And to be fair, it really doesn't like the bumpy roads and uneven pavement. But other than that, I mean, I'm 2 meters tall and the seats not too uncomfortable, nor the driving position, so couldn't really complain about anything as far as the daily driven attributes go. Of course, yeah, you can have any clutch you want on your car, and this car's clutch really doesn't like hill starts or starts at all. You have to be really gentle with the clutch constantly because it will stall on you. So it's pretty safe to say that the stop and start traffic isn't something this car thrives in. If you really want, it's manageable, but I wouldn't advise so. They're way friendlier cars in that sense. But other than the touchy feely clutch and the harshness of the ride, I mean, it rides, I suppose, like any Megane would. Even this weird sporty looking captain's seat is not the worst seat in the world. You can sit in this seat for a long period of time and not really get that tired. I've said this before, this being French, I suppose they didn't want to compromise comfortability all in the name of sportiness. So although this is a sports car, the captain's chair stays. Other than that, this has cruise control, which in my mind is one of the key attributes of making a car tolerable to live with. So that box is checked. And what do you really else need to daily drive a vehicle? I mean, it's year 2019 and all the luxury amenities on new cars have gone crazy. You don't even have to drive your own car. If it has a cruise control, I say it's daily drivable. Given it outperforms all your dime a dozen diesels, I say it's pretty drivable on a daily basis, even though with the obvious shortcomings this car has. Of course, the fuel economy is not that great. At best, this car gets 30 miles per gallon, which is about 10 liters per 100 kilometers. But this kind of light traffic, few stoplights and some stop and go is not a really big problem. Doesn't feel too tedious to drive there. But the sporty DNA of this car is with you all the time. I wouldn't go tackling traffic jams in it. There's way better cars for that. I mean, pretty much any other car on the road. But like cruising here on a nice piece of road, that's what this car is meant for. Of course, you can go way faster, but this is not the goal at the moment. And it doesn't struggle up hills. You'll always have the surge of power waiting on your right foot. I suppose for regular driving I can praise its electric steering. It's pretty precise for that. But as I've mentioned before, when you get to do a little bit of more sporty driving, the electric steering feels a bit numb. Of course, I suppose there's no point of talking about the turning radius, because on this car it's non-existent. It's not really meant for parking. So if there's a lot of downtown action for you with tight parking spots, it's gonna be a pain in the ass. And you can only thank yourself when you've made that choice to use this car for such commuting. But this kind of open parking lot, no problem. You can just scoot in. And it's not that bad. There's not a whole lot you can say about the daily driven attributes of this car, really. As far as I know, it should be the most mundane out of all the sporty Meganes, so I suppose this is the version that's meant the most for just putting around town. I'd say for a daily it's kind of a meh car, you know. You can daily drive it if you don't like yourself, really. a devout German car fan, so as far as I'm concerned, the daily driver should be a German car, preferably an Audi. You can have any car as long as it's an Audi for your daily driver. You can have any car as your daily driver as long as it's an Audi. Okay, I'll drop some love for BMW and Mercedes-Benz too. They're also terrific. Other than that, I can't think of any other brand you would want to drive as your daily driver. The German Big Three or nothing. I know it's a bit extreme and everybody makes their own decisions, but I'd rather take a 200,000 kilometer Audi than any brand new cheap car, whatever the brand might be. But all in all, as long as you're rolling and the road is smooth, it's pretty okay to putt around town between shops and schools and fitness centers and whatnot people might go to besides work. So there are definitely worse cars to daily drive. I suppose the twin scroll application even makes it a bit more drivable, as you have the torque available from down low pretty early on, which is the rev range you're gonna be in town anyway. At the moment I did 15 miles an hour in third uphill and it was fine with it. So there we go, the Renault life. I didn't choose the Renault life, the Renault life chose me. Exactly opposite that I was telling you to do, but how did it work out? You could have just came this way, but how did it? Härra Poni, millega tegelete?